guys, hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a video that's very close to my heart, and it's kind of off the back of another video I did quite recently, which I'll pop the link to below, all about my post-baby body and how I felt about it. The reaction I've gotten from that video has just been incredible. It's been crazy. Like, I really worried about putting myself out there with what I was saying and also the way I looked, but I'm really glad I did, because all the messages I've gotten and all the different shares and people talking about it on Facebook and things like that has just reinforced the fact that I just feel like I can try and help others with this. If you don't know, I have only mentioned it here and there. I previously suffered with an eating disorder. I had anorexia really badly from about the age of, kind of started at 14ish, got really bad sort of 16, 17 onwards. And yeah, I had it for many years. I also dabbled in a bit of bulimia and things like that. So I feel like I've come out the other side. I've had a lot of help and I want to give back. I want to help. And I'm not saying this video is for people that have suffered from an eating disorder at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I just feel like a lot of the treatment I got really focused on positive attitude about the way you look and what you eat and things like that, and I can maybe share that so people can adapt these little things into their life to maybe help how they feel about their post-baby body. Because let's be honest, I don't think I know anyone who's had a baby, waltzed out of hospital and gone, you know what, I look awesome. I don't know anyone, literally nobody. I don't even think celebrities do that. I really don't. They obviously have to work hard at it as well. They just have the time and money that we don't have. But I just think we beat ourselves up too much. We really do. And I can put my hands up and say, I probably have lipstick on my hands actually, but yeah, I can put my hands up and say that I'm the worst. I'm terrible for it. I hate the way I look sometimes. Absolutely hate it. Don't even want to look in the mirror. Hate all my clothes. Hate what I look like. Don't want to take Instagram photos. That sounds really pathetic, but you know what I mean. Like, I do exactly the same. So I'm not preaching, I'm just trying to help. What I thought might be handy and helpful is to share a bunch of ways that work for me and that I think you might be able to use to sort of just improve your attitude towards your body and to be more body positive. Don't get me wrong, we all have bad days and we will all have bad days, but if we can minimize the bad days and just feel a little bit better about ourselves, then I'll be happy I've done this video. So the first one's a bit of a weird one, and it's one that when I first tried it, I don't even think I tried it on purpose. I just did it and then I was like, do you know what? This is actually helping. But it's basically to spend more time naked or in clothes that you wouldn't wear out. So clothes that you have in your wardrobe that you think are too tight, but probably to other people they look completely fine. But I found if you wear them around the house, something starts to change. Something starts to change in your head, and you stop thinking you look awful as much, and you stop thinking that you don't suit things and things like that. And I think the more time you spend naked, and I don't mean like waltzing around your house naked in front of the kids or opening the door to the postman naked or anything like that, but if you have any time in the house by yourself, I found like even just having a bath and just sort of looking, because half the time we're rushing, we're jumping in the shower, not even looking, cleaning, jumping out, getting dry, getting clothed and going, and not actually ever looking at our bodies. We think we hate them, but we don't actually look at them. Whereas if you take time to have a bath or just wandering around naked for a bit, it almost helps you get over the fact that you think you look awful. It's really hard to explain. It's the same thing I find if I go on holiday. The first couple of days, I'm so self-conscious and I don't want to wear a bikini and I'm in like a swimming costume thing or whatever. Thank goodness they came back into fashion, but I have no confidence. Then by the third day, I'm suddenly like, do you know what? Getting a bit of a tan, enjoying myself, having fun with my kids, and all of a sudden I start wearing a bikini and I start caring less. I've kind of taken that concept and applied it to home and just spent more time looking at myself and seeing what I look like, and it has helped. It has improved how I feel about my body, and I don't get as disgusted as I used to. And the same thing goes for tighter clothing. I feel like if I can build the confidence up in the house wearing it, then maybe one day I'll wear it out as well. My next way or tip to feel a bit more body positive is to nourish your body. Eat to make it feel better and make yourself feel better. Don't eat to lose weight, eat to feel good. So I find if I have good food that I love the taste of, it has to be tasty. I'm not talking like cardboard Rivitas, even though I do really like Rivitas, if you don't like them, or food you don't enjoy. I mean, eat good food that you enjoy, that makes you feel better, that improves your mood and makes you feel better about your body. For me, that means sort of overnight oats, homemade smoothies, veggie chilies and curries and salads, and like nice healthy wraps and homemade dips and treats. And I know, like, I work 30 hours a week, I have 2 kids, and I do this. I find if I put that little bit extra effort into what I'm eating, or prep a little bit better, or use some sort of delivery subscription or things like that, it does make me feel better than if I'm just grabbing food wherever I can, left, right and centre, like a pasta from the Co-op for lunch or whatever, that then doesn't agree with me all day. It's different for everyone. Everyone reacts to different food differently and enjoys different food differently, but if you can get that really good balance where you're nourishing your body as well as enjoying your food, then it really does increase your mood and then helps you feel better about your body because you're nourishing it and you're not feeling as guilty. You're not feeling that, oh my days, I just ate like a whole bar of chocolate and now I feel awful. It's because I'm fat, it's because I hate the way I look, it's because I have no self-control. You need to break that cycle of the thoughts. That's what I learned with my all my therapy, with my eating disorder recovery. It's that cycle, it's that terrible cycle where you do something, you react to it negatively, and then the chain goes again and again, and you need to break it. You need to do something when you're ready that breaks that bad cycle of thoughts and helps you to just be more positive about everything. One big aspect of my recovery from anorexia was A, finally accepting I needed help, and B, deciding that I wanted to enjoy life. And I was sick of hating life, and I was sick of hating my body, and I was sick of making people around me miserable as well as myself miserable. And I do think a lot of that stems from the way we feel about our bodies and the way we feel about food and the way we feel about just our lives in general. We live in such an intense society now that everything's amplified, so if we can just strip it back and do things a bit more simple and think about things more and break all our negative thoughts when it comes to food and exercise and whatever, then I think we'd all be happier. So that was a bit of a ramble, didn't mean it to be, and I'm only on my second point out of about 8. But again, also exercise. So not like crazy spinning classes that you hate. I can't spin for some reason. I have some weird shaped bum that I'm just in agony when I try to do spinning, so I don't do spinning. But do things you enjoy, do things that are fun, go get some fresh air, go out with friends, do things together, make it fun, and again, in turn, you will feel much better. I know that first sort of like putting your, what do they say? They say it in the military all the time, putting your kit on is the hardest thing. Like, that's the hardest part of actually exercising, and then the fitter you get, the more you enjoy it. Kind of the way it goes. Bit rubbish. Wish we could all just be fit and healthy without trying, but it doesn't work that way. But I think if you find exercise you actually enjoy, then it makes it a lot less painful, and the endorphins are insane. I found when I replaced cutting all my calories out to increasing my calories, but then also increasing my exercise to sort of not match, I still needed to eat a lot more than I was exercising, but I found I was getting more of like a buzz and a kick out of the exercise side, knowing I was making myself strong, than I was out of the not eating anything and getting really skinny. So it's a balance, but I think post-baby, post-kids, we are very down on ourselves and negative about it, but things like eating well and exercising just increases those endorphins and helps with our moods. Number 3 is a fun one. It's to get a partner or a friend, whoever, someone close to you, to write down 3 things they find attractive about you. And that might sound really like big-headed and silly, but it's a fun thing to do, and I cannot take a compliment. I hate compliments. But I also watched, well, it was just on in the background, and then I was like, oh, this is interesting. Some program on TV last night, some documentary, it was all about the beauty industry and skincare and whatever else and beauty products. Then they did this experiment where they had people's faces like cut out like this, and they had a whole room of them. The same people were in the room, and then they had on each board, they digitally altered the photos. So there was the real one, then what would be classed as the least attractive, and what would be classed as the most attractive, digitally altered wise. And then they got all the people to pick each other's best photos in these photos, and nearly every time other people picked the photos that the people themselves found really unattractive of themselves. So it was really interesting. I do think we perceive ourselves and the way we look very differently from others. So if you can get someone close to you to just write down 3 things they find attractive about you, you might be really surprised about what they say, and it might just be the things you hate the most about you, but it's just a lovely thing to do. And I think things like that need to stick in our heads, so the next time we think, oh my goodness, I don't like my nose, if that's something someone has said they found really attractive about you, hopefully that thought would pop in and try and bat away your negative thought. The next one's a really simple one, really easy, we can all do it. It's just to invest a little bit more time in self-care. So as mums, we're very busy, super busy, all sorts going on, never get a minute to stop. But I think half the time we're our own worst enemy, because we make jobs for ourselves sometimes. I know I do. Like, I know I need my house to be immaculate, so I will put that above having a bath or anything like that, because I just see that as more important in my life than myself, which is wrong. We shouldn't do that. So I've been trying to have a bath once a week and do a face mask at least once or twice a week. And even going to bed after doing a face mask and waking up the next morning, it's really silly, but it does make a difference to how you feel about yourself. And I think if you invest more time in yourself, you almost feel like you get more back out of yourself. So things like moisturizing daily. I know sometimes I don't moisturize my whole body, and then when my legs get all dry and scaly, I get really down about that and don't want to get them out. But if I just moisturised after my shower every day, then I wouldn't have that negative sort of thought. So I've been trying to make a conscious effort to do things like that, just to help myself. And it's not just a beauty thing, although I always find having my nails and hair done make a huge difference to my attitude and whether I'm in a positive mood or not. But it's also things like getting fresh air, spending time with friends. I always get a buzz after I've had a really good night in or night out with friends and chatted loads and just put the worlds to rights. That makes a huge difference. So we just need to make more times for ourselves, which is easier said than done, I know. Here's a big one in this digital age. Stop comparing ourselves to others and to unfollow any social media account that ever makes us feel bad about ourselves, because there's plenty out there and those people usually aren't doing any wrong and they're just going about their daily business and they're looking amazing and you want to feel really happy for them, but inside, if it ever makes you feel bad looking at one of their photos, and I'm sure they wouldn't want that at all, then it's just not worth it. There's so many other people out there to follow. There's a lot of body positive movements on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and that at the moment, so follow all those people. And I think things like ASOS, I've noticed a lot recently when I've been buying stuff on ASOS that all of a sudden you're seeing like models' flaws, which I think is just great. And it's not flaws, that's the wrong word to use, but like bits of models that would have been airbrushed out before. So you're seeing bits of cellulite or moles or things like that. It's just really interesting that there's this shift, and I just think it's amazing and I hope it continues. A good one is to be realistic, and I've had to do this a lot recently. It's to get rid of anything in your wardrobe that will never fit you. I had stuff from uni that I will never fit into, like size 8 or 6 or whatever. I am never going to be that size again. I'm like a good 10 and that's the best it's going to get. I just need to tone up. But that stuff's never going to fit me again. So I've gotten rid, but I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff in this room I could probably get rid of as well. Because the problem is with those sorts of bits is if they're sitting in your wardrobe or in your life, every time you pull them out, you'll look at it and go, oh, I really need to diet. Oh, I looked so much better back then. Oh, I'm just awful, I eat too much, I look awful, I've let myself go. If that item isn't there, those thoughts are less likely to happen because you haven't got that trigger. It's gone, it's out of your life, and you're just moving forward with yourself. Another good one is to speak to others. Sometimes it can seem, especially in the social media world and age that we live in, that everyone's really happy and that everyone loves the way they look and everybody's looking stunning and you're not. That's not the case at all. I think as soon as you start speaking to others or just, I don't know, make a joke about how you feel to gauge a reaction, but I'd say 9 times out of 10 you will get the same reaction back. It seems to be this phenomenon at the moment that we all just are so down on ourselves and feel terrible about the way we look, when I've got friends that I think look utterly amazing and they don't like the way they look, and it's just crazy. It's so crazy. I've always been a bit of a complimenter, like when I see friends or meeting up, I'm like, oh my goodness, I love your coat, or oh my goodness, this, that and the other. But I feel like I need to be more complimentive of people's bodies and the way they look. I know that's a very un-British thing, but I just feel we don't compliment each other enough because we're almost like embarrassed to. But I know if someone ever compliments anything on me, I'm so shocked and taken back, but it does stick with me and it's such a lovely feeling. But yeah, speaking to others is such a good one. It's a really good one, especially friends and other mums that have the same sort of hang-ups that we do as well. Lastly, and I find this one hard to remember, but I should remember because of where I pushed my body to a lot of years ago. Like I've even to this day have caused myself a lot of issues by being anorexic for such a long time. At one point I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to have kids. I didn't have periods for a very long time. I did all sorts of things to like my iron and blood and all sorts of stuff that I won't get into, but I think sometimes we forget that our bodies are everything. Our health is everything. Without our health, we haven't got anything. And I know myself, I don't appreciate that enough. I really don't appreciate that fact. It often takes someone getting sick or yourself getting sick or just something really awful to make you step back and think, I just take it for granted. I take it for granted that I can stand up and walk and go out. I can exercise, I can play with my kids, I can do whatever, because in a lot of people's circumstances, they don't have that and they'd give anything for that. They couldn't care less if they had cellulite on their bum or a muffin top or like wobbly arms or whatever. They just want to live and they just want to be up and mobile. And I think a lot of the time I need to take a step back and remember that when I'm looking in the mirror and thinking, I can't go out looking like this. Because in the end, it just doesn't really matter, I guess. And of course, we're mums. Our bodies made human beings. That's just like, even to me, to this day, having gone through it twice, it's just crazy that your body can nurture some cells and grow it into a human being, a person with a personality, with different characteristics to you. And oh, it's just mad. It's mad. And I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to look good and be a perfect mum and this, that and the other, that we don't actually think hang on a minute, my body is amazing, my body's crazy, my body produced that. It might be annoying me a lot right now because it won't sleep, but it's still created this human being that's going to be something, that's going to do something in the world. And whew, it's just crazy. I think a lot of the time we forget that it's not going to snap back. Like it's been pushed to its limits, and although we can get ourselves back to close to that, a lot of the time it does come down to not having the time for it. And maybe we just need to accept we don't have the time right now to invest that much into ourselves that we'd like to, but the time will come again. The time will come when our kids don't need us as much, or kids are at school, or kids are doing whatever. Then when we get that time back, then we can exercise, then we can do whatever we need to do to be happy. It's not about doing a set thing, it's just about making yourself happy. And coming from someone that spent a lot of years very miserable, I just really try to take a step back a lot these days and think, do you know what? Life's good, life's pretty good, life's cool, life's all right. I do get a lot of comments as well about being like, oh, but you're away from family, you've had to move somewhere you don't want to be. And it's the same kind of principles. It's life's life. We're lucky to have it, and we're lucky to be in the situations we're in. Yeah, that got a lot deeper than I expected it to, and a lot longer than I expected to do. So congratulations if you've made it to the end of this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it hasn't come across wrong. It's always hard with these sorts of videos to get the right tone, because I'm quite a sarcastic person and I never want that to come across in a bad way, so hopefully it didn't. Also, let me know if you fancy seeing any more sort of videos like this. I have a few planned, but I don't want to push them on people if they don't want to see them. Thanks so much for watching, hope you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!